Good morning, everybody. It's just a lazy morning. I'm lazy to wake up. I woke up, I had my breakfast, but I'm still tired. But even though I'm tired, my mouth is not tired because I'm not even sleeping. So I've been reflecting again about my traveling. I'm quite a traveler. I owe you a video about my traveling to America via Chicago. I was traveling to Missouri. That one I have not recorded. I've recorded Scotland. I've recorded China. I've recorded Egypt. And I think I need to also record Dubai because I stayed in Dubai. I also need I don't feel the need to record London because whenever I'm in London, I stay in the airport. So I might as well record Qatar and Ethiopia. If now I give stories about their airports, I might also record Dubai and Germany because I transit in their airports. In this case, now I'd like to add additional experiences about Egypt because they are quite interesting and fascinating. One of the things that I heard, you must remember, I was also fascinated by the way a small taxi, a car, these cars that we use for Uber, not even a venture, a small car, like your Tez, like your Corsa, a small car, would carry the whole luggage from the airport on top. They don't have taxis like us. So for me, that was a bit fascinating. A difference in lifestyle. So one more thing was, okay, I get into the taxi. The houses are a little bit different from the houses that you know. For me, they are like the houses that you know in the pictures, maybe. I'm sharing these things so that you learn and not get a cultural shock. I think I also need to record a video about my cultural shocks as a traveler. So then the taxi continues. So as it continues, the houses are different. I was going to be put in a flat. Let's call it a house because I was a student, so we were sharing the bathroom. Oh my word. We're sharing a bathroom with two students from Bohemia. They were white. With one student from Pakistan, one student from Uganda, then myself. A story for another day. Especially from the Bohemian ladies. Whew. Okay, now I arrive, and one thing I'm told about Egypt is that, first of all, we're all women. Women are not supposed to mix with men. You must remember, we're professionals, we're older. So why must those principles be forced on us? I had my principles. I never, ever did anything against my principles. I never drank alcohol. I never had boyfriends when I was in Egypt. I was just a student. But for me, to control an adult that way, it was a little bit strange. To my Egyptian friends, this is not an attack on your cultures and the way you do things. But for me, it's just my experiences which were different and were shocking in terms of my background. So take it easy, because one of the things that I learned about the Egyptians, they don't like their country to be criticized. But some truths are the truths that we need to tell them. So one more thing that happened in Egypt was that I was told, you are told as you come, that should you take people's men, their women will come, fetch you, and then kill you and throw you in the River Nile. I've been to the River Nile, so nobody will ever find you in the River Nile. Do you remember the River Nile? The River Nile is where Moses was found. So I've had an experience of visiting the River Nile. I think I must record a video about that. My visit to the River Nile one of these days. So you will be thrown in the River Nile. But they are men. They just like women of other cultures. They just like women of other cultures. So that's the neighbor's child. That's the neighbor's child. Okay. So to continue, sure, you will get so scared, but they are men like women. They like women with big chests or big boobs, but they like them. So they can't speak English, so they would make me feel harassed because a person will stand with a car and do this, referring to your boobs and say, and the activist in me will go mad. I will feel like I'm stripped naked. I'll feel like I'm harassed. I would want to tell them to go to hell, but I can't tell them to go to hell because language is the barrier. They can't speak English. I only can speak English. Okay, let's continue. So one day I'm leaving the flat and I'm going to school. I think I was going to school or to the shops, but I was going somewhere. I left the house. A car stopped. A man called me and I didn't come. Remember, I'm not called by men anyhow. Who do they think they are to just call me and think I'm a slut? Calls me, I refuse. The strange thing was that he was too dark in complexion. I think he was Sudanese. I don't think he was Egyptian, but I don't know because I never spoke to him. What was strange to me was when I refused, he was sort of forceful. He was trying to be forceful. And because I was not far from my flat, I quickly went to my flat. And I felt harassed, but there was nothing I could do. I remember my friend who was from Somalia. He used to tell me that here you don't even know where the police station is. You can't even report a person. And the worst part for me was when I visited the bank. I saw that man, he worked in the bank, but there was nothing I could do, and I hated that there was nothing that I could do, because if I knew where the police station, or I was given an orientation of the police station, I would have reported him. Fast forward. So I left it and I was like, I wished there was something that I could do to protect myself as a woman. So one day I went for shopping. In Egypt we did shopping. There are a lot of beautiful clothes. So I went for shopping, but you go far away to get those clothes. I'll remember where we bought clothes. Mahadi is where we went to church as international people. But in order to buy clothes, I'm trying to think, where did we go? But you would take a taxi to go there and buy clothes. So I took a meter taxi. You know what the meter taxi driver did? He took the longer route. That's what they would do. So I'm empowering you so that you know these things before you visit these countries. He took the longer route because he wants me to pay. And when I caution him, He pretends as if he doesn't understand English, but he knows that I'm going to Mokatam and there are routes that are closer, but now he's going to strange areas far away with me. So when I noticed that he's doing that and he's pretending not to understand me, when I'm cautioning him, he's going, pretending not to understand me. I just hit his chair like this. Stop the bloody car and leave me here. So you know what he did? He really stopped. But he did something that I hate. My God, nobody does that to me and get away with it. When he stopped, he spat on me. My God, nobody does that to me. Who the hell does he think he is to do that to me? I spat back. The thing is, we are in the middle of nowhere. This man can kill me, but I just lost my temper. And when I lose my temper, I'm fearless. I didn't think. I just spat back. And I said, who do you think you are spitting on me? Then I got out. He tried to grab my parcels. I grabbed them back. But now when he was about to attack me in the middle of nowhere, I remembered what my friend taught me. My friend taught me to say, Haramia, 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 Haramia. So it means there's a criminal. It means there's a criminal wanting to attack me. I said, Haramia, Haramia, Haramia. Please remember this when you visit Egypt. Don't say Haramia. And then he stopped and he left me in the middle of nowhere and I had to look for another taxi. And when I came back, I called my friend to come. I was traumatized and I told her this. Now, another incident was that I made friends. I was really sexually harassed in Egypt by men who think they undermine women and think they can get away with anything. Remember, they are allowed to take many wives in terms of their religion, those who are in the religion that is not Christianity. I'm not crushing people's religions, but I'm just sharing. So I don't know if they wanted a wife or they thought I was a slut, but one thing that I was not, yes, I was a South African, but I was not a slut. I had my principles. I was there to study, not to get married. So one day, I'm coming from the shops. I was best friends with a tailor closer to my flat. Let's just say in their own style, it was like a shopping complex because there were many things there. There was a shop, there was a tailor, there was everything you need. But when you need more stuff, then you would walk to the shops a little bit far. So I'm friends with this guy because I like to take my things there for him to adjust my clothes. So there was this man who was following me. He was literally following me. Do you know what he did? Hey. Then I remembered, let me not go home and mislead him. Then I went straight to the tailor and I told him that this man is following me. And then the tailor came out and said, why are you following this lady? He literally denied it and cried. He literally denied it and cried. And I hate this thing of my word against someone's word. I just give up. And I said, never mind. Then I went to my flat. So one day I make friends with a woman who's selling vegetables and fruit. She's a poor woman. Then I like to support local business. So I like to support her. So, and I even took photos with her child. Her child doesn't even go to school because of poverty. So one day, I saw she was not where she used to be and her fruit was thrown all over the place, everything like that. Then I look for her and I find her in another spot. I want to know what happened. She's saying she's been thrown out of that place. Now, because she's thrown out of that place, I guess she didn't know what to do with her vegetables. I don't want her vegetables, but she forces them. She puts them in my pocket. She puts them in a plastic and she gives me by force. And she has that begging face. I take them. I don't even need them. I had enough vegetables, but I take them. Do you know what she did? As the time went by, because I had a good mind, I let her child know where I lived. Don't know what I was going to give her, maybe food or whatever. Do you know that ever since those children knew where I lived, they would come and knock with their friends? Up until this irritated me. Then again I go to the tailor man and I ask him to call these children and tell them not to harass me. They are small children, but I wanted him to talk in Arabic and tell them not to harass me, because sometimes I'm sleeping, there's a knock, and they don't know what they want. So the tailorman talked to them. These kids brought their mother, who washed that day. She looked like a street woman. I think I have a photo of her and her kid because I really genuinely liked them. So she bathed that day and she came to the tailor man, and you know what she said? She said, I didn't pay her vegetables. I would never do that to people. I pay my debts. I would never do that to people. When I realized that what she was saying, she's saying it in Arabic, I realized that we live in a cruel world where people do not even really make friends with you but take from you. I said, okay, if she says I took her vegetables, ask her how much, because I would never take vegetables from the south, someone who's poor. Then I explained to the tailor man what happened that day. And then she tells her that I owe her. I can't even remember because I was irritated. I go to the flat, I give her, said, God bless you. I had the money. In the first place, I was on stipend as a student. Secondly, I was getting my salary. I wouldn't take her vegetables on credit, but that's what she said. So those things happen in other countries. So don't try and be a Mother Teresa to people. Just do what you do and don't be kind. So one more incident was okay, I'm forgetting the other ones, but I want to tell the story of when a cat held me hostage in my own house. I was the first student to arrive there, and the others were still in their countries. Oops, this is my money bag. I needed money, then I put it here. I didn't return it in my purse. So this day, I'm alone. I don't know when this cat came in. I think it came through the window. Did I scream and cry? And I'm in the middle of nowhere in a country where I'm not known, and I'm held hostage by a cat. I've got this phobia for cats that I'm not familiar with, because at home we do have a cat, Kitty. Her name is Kitty, but the cats that are big and I'm not familiar with, I'm always afraid that they might jump on me. Did I cry and bang doors? I think at last the neighbor came to find out what was wrong. Then I showed them the cat, and they were thinking it's not a big deal, but I was embarrassed and scared of the cats in Egypt in my new days. The last story is, sometimes when you take a taxi with a man, try and sit at the back, because they have this notion in their minds, or this perception, that we foreigners are sluts who like sex, so one man. So if you are sitting next to him, he can tap you like this, so that you look at him. By the time you look at him, you see his penis standing like this. And for me, I immediately think of a rapist. When you do that, I think I'm going to be raped. And when that happened to me, what I did is I jumped. I said, please stop the car and let me get out, because I was thinking of being raped. Not forgetting that, in my few days of being in Egypt, the man who picked me from the airport, he works for the university, but he made sexual advances on me. Do you know that that made me feel stripped naked? And I didn't speak to him for the whole year, for thinking that I'm a slut, for making sexual advances on me. I'm in a house alone, and he knows, because he's been instructed to pick me up from the airport. And then when I went to his Facebook, there were these scary pictures of them crucifying people, killing people. I was scared of him. I was scared of him. But in general, let me say positive things about Egypt, except for these stories, which are mostly related to sexual harassment. Even at university, the Egyptians would judge the way I dress. I'm not dressing in short dresses, but I don't hide my arms. In Egypt, you must hide your arms and your head. But I'm not there to learn their culture, so they should learn to tolerate other cultures. So I would have many fights with women and other men, because they would feel like I don't respect their culture. I didn't care. I wasn't there to learn cultures. But on a positive note, Egyptians have very beautiful clothes, which I was selling that year. On a positive note, the Egyptians had a very nice bread that they made. I don't know, I've never tasted the bread like that. They had a very cheap fruit and vegetable, so I was always doing well in terms of veggies and fruit. And Egyptians are intelligent. That's a positive thing about them. And other than that, I enjoyed my stay, because if you know me, I do what I want. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you approve or you don't approve. Me, I'm a rebel. I just do what I want. My traveling experiences are many. And because Egypt was in 2012, you might realize that there are some things that I'm forgetting. But those are the things that you need to note. And people, there's one thing they would like to do. If you buy airtime, they would overcharge you. I remember also when I wanted my luggage to go back to South Africa, they wanted to overcharge me. In South Africa we have street children. Yeah? That's another topic. We have street children, but street children don't go to the windows like the mosquitoes and do this with their hands to the windows of the meter taxis when they beg. That's how they do it in Egypt. Those children who are street kids, they would go to the windows of the cars or of that meter taxi. They know most, ever since the incident of seeing a penis, I'm sitting at the back in a meter taxi. So when you're sitting at the back, those children will do that. It's frightening. It's like also when they see you walking on the street and you're wearing a watch, they would grab it, they would grab you. And you wonder, where do they get street children? Because they say they don't get pregnancy outside marriage, which is something that needs to be researched as to where do they get street children then? Who are those children? Where do they come from? I'm interested, but they are quite scary. And yes, and one more thing is there was something I wanted to share. In addition to the street children, Um, I had this in mind when I was recording this video. This thing that I wanted to share. This thing that I wanted to share. Intoni man, which I thought fitted in this video. Okay, maybe I'm not supposed to share it because I'm forgetting it now. Besides that, I had fun. Egyptians like their tea. We call it shy. Is a shy. They like their tea. So in restaurants, they would be smoking, having tea, shy. And when they smoke, they use the oka pipe, what we call oka pipe. I didn't know. There was a name for it. Was it shisha? But there was a name for it in Egypt where that thing, which is a pipe that they pour. So I only learned here in South Africa that thing is oka pipe. I didn't know. So they like their tea, their smoke, and then yeah. And there's one thing also that shocked me was that when you go to the towns where I bought clothes and where maybe I would go for a restaurant with my friend, you would see a woman, a young woman, begging, like being a street kid, but with a child. And when you look into the child, you will sense that maybe that child is 1 month old. 1 month old in a very hot weather. She is begging. Then I was told when I asked, remember I have an inquiring mind. Oh, I closed the camera by mistake, sorry. So when I asked with my inquiring mind, why is this? I was told that in Egypt, men, okay, there's a sun coming through the blind, but I'm about to finish. I was told that in Egypt, men send women to beg. Send women to beg. And for me, again, that was a cultural shock. But one thing that I wished I adopted from them was this thing of the survival of the fittest. Nobody cares for the other. One man for himself. And with me, I spent almost half of my life caring for relatives, for siblings. And it was an Egyptian that warned me not to do this. I remember there was a crisis at home. I wanted to cut my time at school and go home. She told me that, you know what, don't do this. Because people that you supported, they turn against you. The reason that they turn against you is not because they have forgotten what you did for them, but they hate the fact that they have to say thank you. People are ungrateful out there. May his soul rest in peace. It was Professor Magdi who said it. That as I'm growing up, I realized that the people that you helped, few of them will say thank you, but some will turn against you to an extent of being your enemy. And it's a little bit confusing, but it's life. It's life. It's life. Life will show you flames. By the way, take care of yourselves. I love you. Remember, you're special. Remember, there is none like you. There is no copy of you. Use your mouth, use your strengths. You use your strength and use the abilities you have to change the world and to change your situation. I know you can. God bless you. I love you.